Loud and clear.
Okay.
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 So yeah, I started recording, and we can start.
I haven't pressed anything, but it says recording in the corners, so
Yeah.
I'm not
I,
sure if it's
I yeah, that's because I already pressed here the recording because I hosting the.
right, right, yeah, 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 the host, yeah, okay,
So
okay, so I think it's recorded.
yeah.
Okay,
So how about if we start the English part of the interaction?
yeah, that sounds good.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna put on a timer just so I like make sure that we have the right or enough time.
All right. Perfect.
Okay,
So here I have some questions I'd like to ask you. For example,
okay.
how are values encoded differently in different languages? For example, how is it that you interpret family or friendship on the English language?
So I want to make sure I get your question right. So basically, like, how does match my relationships with people?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, so I think it's I don't know, it's kind of hard to say because I think it's like here, like in America, there's a lot of different like cultures. Like I have
yeah,
to Chinese culture.
yeah.
So I think like through like English, like to each other, even though we don't necessarily have the same culture. So it's kind of like a
Okay.
middle ground where we can relate. So I can relate to my friends.
Yeah, because here in Mexico, the way that we relate our family to our friends is very much the same because, like on typical movie endings where they said, "Ah, my friends are family." That's kind of the
Yeah.
way that we interpret things. So, like the same way I would, spend the weekend with my family, I will also spend it with my friends. The same way I talk to my friends, almost the same way I talk to my parents.
Yeah, yeah. And like I have a lot of friends who like definitely have a different like culture at home than I do. And so
Yeah.
it's kind of like since we all speak like English, it's a way that we're all like the same in some sort of way because we all speak the same language.
Okay. Another question. How do you understand the world differently when you learn another language? For example, one of the things that my teacher has told me a lot is how on the English language you kind of always think on a linear pattern. So this is what I'm telling you, this is what I will talk no, this is what I'm going to talk to you about, this is what I'm telling you, and this is what I told you. Kind of like on a linear pattern. Well, on the Latin sort of languages we tend to speak from one direction, then turn to another, and then turn to another topic. So, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I definitely think that's kind of true. I think definitely more like professional settings too. It's very kind of
Yeah,
like direct and to the point. I think like definitely when like I'm talking to like a teacher from like in an interview for something, I tend to like kind of like or we tend to kind of like stay to the point or stay on topic. And that's
yeah,
just kind of like I think was kind of like seen as kind of like not necessarily like I don't know, because I think it is true. Like I don't like tend to like very off topic like when I'm talking to my teachers.
yeah,
Although I think like with friends it can be different because we do tend to like go off onto different topics,
yeah,
but it like makes sense how we get from one topic to another. So I
yeah.
do see how it can be like in a linear pattern.
Yeah, because with us, we don't have sense when we when we change topics. Like we're starting to talk about I don't know politics or government, and then suddenly someone mentions I don't know some weird name, and then we start talking about culture and how names are different someplace else. And then we start talking about history and we go throughout different topics.
Yeah.
The same sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of the same. I mean, yeah, like when I'm talking to my friends, we'll be talking about something and then like in that conversation something else might be brought up, like a name, like you said, and then we'll kind of go off into that direction. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have this interesting question. Tell me what you think. Um, Here it is. When we learn an additional language, do we learn more than just the vocabulary and the grammar? So like when you learn a new language, do you also learn to think on that language or do you only learn do you only learn the words?
I think definitely for me, and I think a lot of people like in my Spanish class too, it's the same way. But like when we're learning Spanish, we learn a lot about the culture and kind of like how the language like affects the people.
Yeah, of
Like in
course.
Mexico, like how like how your language like affects you and affects your culture. And I think it's definitely like we don't just solely focus on like the words and like the language. We also like focus on the culture too.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because here in the English class, we're starting to see a lot about the United States independence and the declarations and all that
Oh yeah.
that's happening there. Um,
Yeah.
so what's the time right now?
Right now we are almost at 6 minutes. We're like right at 6 minutes.
Oh, great. So we have time for another question. What is
Yep.
the relationship between language and thought? What do you think is the relationship of this?
I think it's kind of like going back to your question about kind of like the linear way of thinking. I
Yeah,
think definitely from like since I like speak English, I probably have like a different like way of thinking than maybe like a Spanish speaker would. I don't
yeah.
really have that experience because I don't like speak in English on like a daily basis to like a
Yeah.
lot of people, except but then like
Okay.
like how you say like like I know that like connected and like your way of thinking is kind of like part of culture.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would say
Hello.
right now. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Ah, no. It's just that the connection was a little bit lost, but it's okay now.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's a little unstable.
Yeah. So what were you saying?
Right now we're just about at 7:30. We're like at 7:30 right now.
Okay, so do you want to change to Spanish or do we keep on going a little bit?
We can change to Spanish.
Okay, perfecto.
Okay. Um, okay. So tengo algunos preguntas sobre cultura y cómo es la idioma o um, cómo es la idioma la parte el parte de la cultura en México.
Ok, el idioma, la cultura de México. El lenguaje español, especialmente, es muy variado en diferentes países. Por ejemplo, países más en el sur, como Chile, tienen sus propias definiciones para diferentes palabras. Aquí en México, especialmente el lenguaje coloquial, se usa mucho palabras, lo que aquí puede significar una maldición o un complemento, tiene eh, un conocimiento diferente, lo conocen de diferente forma en otra parte que hablan español. Pero México sí es una parte muy importante porque aparte somos muy sociales, los mexicanos nos encanta mucho ir a fiestas o platicar con la familia. Personalmente paso horas platicando con mis compañeros de vez en cuando. So, yeah.
Hold on. What time is it? I'll be ready. Go. Sorry, that was my brother.
Understandable.
Yeah. Okay. Bueno, y okay, so my pregunta. ¿Cómo español cambiar to or ¿cómo español puede cambiar to or cómo tú piensas sobre cosas en tu vida?
Ok. ¿Cómo es que el español cambia tu forma de pensar? Bueno, porque el español es una lengua romance, usualmente, vaya, es muy expresivo. Entonces, puedes darle muchos significados a muchas palabras y por eso es que te tiendes a cambiar de pensamiento, tiendes a cambiarte de tema, a desviarte tantito. Por ejemplo, en la literatura latinoamericana, especialmente literatura de los años 50, es muy difícil leerla porque usan muchas cosas como metáforas, donde dirán, el corazón de la mujer es como un león incontrolable. Eso lo dirían, pero en una forma más extravagante, con palabras más viejas, menos conocidas, y te hace explorar esos lugares del lenguaje. No sé si me estoy explicando bien.
Yeah.
Te hace pensar de una forma más, para ponerle solo una palabra, romántica. Yeah.
Sí, es como otros idiomas en otros países que habla español, o es diferente que español en México es más romántica.
No, definitivamente otros lugares que hablan el español son muy parecidos a México en la forma en que se expresan también son muy expresivos, pero sí tienen sus propios significados para ciertas palabras. Por ejemplo, mm, ¿qué buen ejemplo ¿cuál sería un buen ejemplo? Ok, porque tengo una amiga argentina y a los argentinos eh, le dicen a sus amigos eh, pibes, creo que les dicen así, pibes. Y esa palabra en México la usamos como güey. Así que, aunque hay diferentes palabras, por eso es algo difícil aprender el español porque hay varias variaciones, pero eso es más bien por la gente, en cómo es que les gusta expresarse, qué palabras quieren usar para expresarse y cómo expresan estas palabras, cómo les dan algún conocimiento, algún significado.
Okay. Y ¿tú piensas que español es más expresivo que inglés o es diferente?
Sí, son demasiado diferentes. De hecho, ahorita me estoy batallando tantito, me estoy trabando porque sigo pensando en inglés, pero ahora tengo que pensar en español. El español sí es mucho más expresivo y me gusta mucho usar español para este, platicar con personas, dar mi punto de vista, pero sí me ha pasado veces que prefiero hablar en inglés para ser más lineal. Si tengo cosas en mi cabeza de que trabajos y cosas que tengo que hacer, usualmente las repito en inglés porque es más fácil para mí. En cambio, si las repito en español, me tiendo a desviar bastante en lo que tengo que hacer.
Yeah. Uno momento, por favor.
Por supuesto.
Okay. Lo siento. Okay, es mi hermano.
Sí, está bien.
Pero ¿qué es 15 minutos?
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's like all of our time. I would like talk more, but I have to take my brother to work now.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, because my parents, they had to leave.
Okay. So I'm gonna